Hi, Jim.
Hey, Steve, hold on a second. You have reached Radio Wasteland Records. Your call is very important to us. Please stay on the line and a customer service representative will be with you momentarily. All right.
Uh, don't you need to take that?
Yeah, they'll be all right. And by all right, Steve, I mean that is a fake phone call. I would never, ever do that to a customer here at the record store. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Two Guys Talking About Records, a vinyl community podcast where each week we two guys get together and we talk about records. And I am not that kind of a record store owner, Steve. You know that.
Yeah, but there are some that are.
There are.
And we're coming for you today,
right.
folks. We're gonna rat you out.
And my name is Jim, by the way, and if you haven't figured it out, I own a record store.
And I am Steve, and I am a record collector.
I think it's going to be a fun one this week, Steve, because this time of year, for all of retail, record stores as well, but record, in general, retail, it gets a little challenging, so to speak, when it comes to the customers coming in. Is that a good way to put it?
After working retail many years, it's the happiest time of the year, unless you're working in retail. It's like, oh God.
So we're going to share some customer service stories today. But here's the thing, Steve. With the advent of the internet, this great big thing that came along that was going to revolutionize shopping and how we do, customer service didn't seem to change too much, except just be more disconnected, didn't it?
It changed. It changed all right. And humans, get them out of the picture.
So we are going to share some horror stories, so to speak, but also some cool stuff here and there because it is a great time of year to be listening to and picking up vinyl. Don't get me wrong, we still love doing that. But today, when we get into this whole customer service talk, I can speak from both sides of the coin today, Steve, as both the record store owner and a record store shopper, believe it or not. It boggles my brain.
It boggles mine too. And, even now I still deal with customer service working for my son.
True.
And there's good ways and bad ways to do it, but it seems like it's getting worse and worse in so many places, sadly.
Sadly, indeed. So we'll get into that a little bit later on in the podcast today. But as we do each and every week, we like to start things off with the most recent additions to our collection. The pickups, if you will, stuff that makes our hearts go warm, especially this time of year. I love your sweater, by the way.
Yeah, it's very hot also. I probably have sweat dripping down me by the end.
Well, you guys are going through a heat wave of sorts in Colorado. It was 15 here this morning when I got up and got ready to go, and we're losing our snow in Michigan, but it's still cold.
If it makes you feel better, it was down to 32 this morning.
Oh my, that's t-shirt weather here.
Yeah. It's been great. It's going to continue to be great, so that's all right.
Well, what do you have this week to show us?
Well, I just have so many special records, Jim. We may not have time for customer service, but first off, I got a couple records that I received from Jim at Radio Wasteland just for the Christmas season. And I mean, they are awesome. And I didn't have these. And the first is Ernie Kuchera, Nebraska's #1 polka band, celebrating 40 years of polka music. I've been dying to get this. The thing is, here's the funny part is I graduated, the last town I lived in Nebraska was called Schuyler, Nebraska. It's a Czech community. It was a Czech community. And Ernie Kuchera was huge. I mean, everybody talked about Ernie Kuchera, the polka king, coming to town. And so I saw this and go, yeah, that is Nebraska's #1 polka band. And it's on the Ernie Kuchera label. So that kind of cracked me up when I got that. Jim didn't know that, but I do know Ernie Kuchera.
Well, I sent it because it was Nebraska related, and I needed a stiffener in the package to send you so that the other records didn't get damaged.
I thought the other records were the stiffener.
Oh man, okay. Well, enjoy. So Ernie, that's a great parallel to, you remember Marv Herzog here in the mid-Michigan area. He was the polka king of
Mm-hmm.
Frankenmuth. In fact, he was Frankenmuth's first rock star, so to speak. Forget that Greta Van Fleet nonsense. Marv Herzog's the one that rocked mid Michigan, polka
Polka,
wise.
polka. Yes. Well, Jim also he said he sent me this, and I forgot to show this one, but it is
Oh,
Uncle
no.
Steve's dance album. And so this has like all the hit polkas on here that you could ever ask for, and it's a fun to play if you could get through all this. Polka albums were well played. I
Oh,
gotta say
yeah.
that. Usually, polka albums look like Zamrock albums, all scratched up and beat up. I don't think they ever put them back in the sleeve. So
Which then begs the question to me, Steve, do you think
yeah.
somewhere in Central Africa, United States polka albums from the early 60s are highly collectible?
I think so. I think in some places they are incredibly collectible. And I mean, this does have Uncle Steve's polka. It has the Smarty polka, a waiting waltz, and Pat's polka. It's all on there. So
So,
funny thing is, Jim, it's not in Discogs. I
oh,
don't get
well,
it.
that's probably why I sent it to you because, well, I can't catalog it and sell it here in the store. I bet Steve will like it. Why not
That's
Steve?
right.
Steve
Because
likes anything.
yeah, he's always going on about polka. So
Oh yeah, it's what you're gonna little known fact, folks. Steve's gonna start another sub channel devoted to just polka music.
that's right. Oh Lord. So yes, thank you, Jim. Those are
You're
awesome. And
you're
I
welcome.
will not, I will not purge those. I
Okay,
promise you.
I, it wouldn't hurt my feelings if you did. I'll expect them back at some point in time if you send them as a record stiffener to me.
I'm pretty sure if I brought those to a record store, they'd say, no. Keep them.
Oh well, it was worth a try.
uh, I got this one in. It's from the Fuzztones. Lysergic e-
Oh no,
emans- emans- mansions. I don't know.
it's the fuzz
I'm
tones.
Yeah, that's the Fuzztones, Mansions. All right. It has just scary looking skeletons and bats and zombies on the cover, and it's fantastic. It's the Fuzztones. Someone recommended this album to me because I'd shown the Fuzztones and they asked, "You have that one?" And I go, "No, I don't." So I went and got it, and I couldn't be happier. It is great. It's just fantastic garage rock.
Those guys have been around for quite some time too. I remember them from my college radio days back in the '80s, late '80s.
Yeah, they've been around for a very long time, and I think they still are. This one came out in 1986,
Okay.
and just in awesome condition. Really good stuff. So, yeah, this was fun. Good stuff. Fuzz tones.
I don't remember
Uh,
that one from the '80s though, but that's cool.
yeah, a brand new one from this year. I just picked up Time Infinite. It's from William Tyler. William Tyler is a guitarist and played with Lamb Chop and Silver Jews. He's been out on his own solo albums, but he also works with a lot of different people. And I have a number of his albums. He's a someone I really enjoy. And for those that are listening on the radio, you cannot see all the cool pictures here. So sorry. And I'm not going to explain them either. But this is experimental. So William Tite usually has this beautiful guitar work, and it's almost dreamy at times, but it's very intricate. Uh, Electric guitar sounds incredible. One of my favorite albums is by him. So I go, oh, a new William Tyler. I'll buy that. This is his. I'm going to experiment with found sounds
Oh
and
no.
noises and things, uh, and, and so when I drop the needle of that first song, I'm just doing something else to go. Oh my God, the needle fell off the record. This is. I go up there. No, that's a sound he found. I think one of those found sounds. So, geez. Um, it is, if you like more experimental music, especially with guitar, you probably would really enjoy this William Tyler. Me, I have to kind of work myself into it. It's not necessarily my comfort zone, but I do like him, so I'm going to continue to try to figure it out.
Good luck with that.
Yep. And you know how AC/DC has no greatest hits albums? You
Yeah.
can't find one. Yeah, except for Alive. Well, if you buy the Iron Man 2 soundtrack, you get the greatest hits. I was on a podcast with Chris Mann over in England, and we're talking about that. I brought up, AC/DC, you don't have any greatest hits. They go, no, you got to get Iron Man 2. It
Yep.
doesn't have everything, but it does have Shoot to Thrill, Back in Black, Thunderstruck, um, Razor's Edge, Let There Be Rock, Highway to Hell. It's all on there. And there's another Iron Man soundtrack that has a bunch of AC/DC songs. So it's only AC/DC on this, on
So it
Iron
might
Man
as well
2.
be a greatest hits.
Yeah, it can be. You just, as long as you don't mind Iron Man on the front cover, it's a greatest hits.
Now
So
there's another movie soundtrack that is ACDC as well that came close, but it was, remember Who Made Who? That
yeah,
wonderful film there. But that was almost a compilation, but there was a couple of new songs on it, so I don't know if you could call it that from
yeah,
ACDC.
true.
But
So they won't put out just their own greatest hits, but they do these movie soundtracks and just toss them on there. So that was fun. I was happy to get that. I recently got in this Teenage Fan Club bandwagon esque, which is kind of considered their best album they ever made. I got the CD back in the early 90s, and every critic was going on and on about how great the album was and just, phenomenal. It's power pop. And I didn't really get it. I was playing it, go, yeah, all right, whatever. I mean, and I tried several times, and I just never really got into it. So I went out and bought it again just to see, to give it a try, because, the CD got wiped out.
yep.
And damn, I kind of like it now, but I'm more into the power pop stuff. And it's how that, as we've talked about before, our tastes change as we look at things. And that's where I like to revisit some of this stuff just to see, do I like it now? And a lot of times I find out I do. Teenage Fan Club's still going strong out there. People swear by them. They've put out a lot of music, and but this was the one in the U.S. that did well. Otherwise, it kind of fell out in the U.S. Uh, it just, they were at the time when grunge was going on,
Yep.
Brit pop was going on. It really wasn't about power pop, and that's what they are. So cool stuff.
Very neat.
Almost done here. So this is a fascinating thing. Blind buy, big surprise. Simla Beat 70. And are you ready for this one? This is it's a sensational reissue of the first volume of Simla Beat 70, a psych garage manifesto. The record consisted of groups who appeared in the All India Simla Beat Battle from 1970 to 71.
Huh.
This is psych music from India from that time period. And
Oh,
so they had this big concert, and then they had like this kind of crappy recording studio where after they played, they could come out and, record a track or two. And they put it on these albums. And so, yeah, I saw that and go, how much psych do I have from India? And suddenly I went blank, Jim.
not
So
much.
I just, I felt there was a need for this. So,
Now that's an original of that era.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it
So
is. It's the recordings from that era, and it is very interesting. It is not bad. I mean, they do some where they do "Born on the Bayou." So this band from India, "Born on the Bayou," but it doesn't have all the trappings of the sitar and all that. No, this is some psych music really happening
well,
here,
that's
and a
good to
lot
hear.
of it's loud and strong. So Simla Beat 70. It was
Bayou, Bayou. Okay, we'll go with the Bayou.
yeah, Bollywood. Nope, no Bollywood included. Uh, very nice, very nice. And the final ones, I was I heard something. We were watching some, and a Pet Shop Boys song came on. I go, God, I'm really kind of liking that. The Pet Shop Boys. Haven't listened to them in years. So I went and downloaded some Pet Shop Boys into my phone. Then I go to this record store and someone dropped off 12 inches of Pet Shop Boys. So I bought 3 12 inches of the Pet Shop
Oh
Boys. This is
man.
always on your mind 12 inch. That was a hit from them. Yeah, just a 12-inch record. I usually don't do 12-inch records, but I like, you know what, Pet Shop Boys, I'll buy a greatest hits. I'm
Yep.
not going to buy their other stuff probably. But we have Let's Make Money opportunities. Let's Make Money from the Pet Shop Boys. That was huge. So we got a nice 12-inch. So you just keep playing it and playing it. And finally, the one with Dusty Springfield. What have I done to deserve this? Pet Shop Boys and Dusty Springfield. So fun stuff. I just happened to be there. I go, well, I just, considering 3 days ago, I just downloaded Pet Shop Boys into my phone. I might as well grab those. So
But you know what? A greatest hits album probably would work. But when you get 12-inch singles like that, you've got all of the music that comes with the greatest hits, plus 3 times the effort to play them.
yes, that's right.
But no West End girls, huh? You got that on your phone, though.
Yeah, I do. Yes, of course I got West End girls there now. But I'll probably still wind up getting the greatest hits from them, I think, and then I'll be satisfied with my Pet Shop Boys collection.
There you go.
That's it, Jim.
All right. I've VCLT heavy this week, and it's not all vinyl. It's not all the V in there too. But yeah, so I had some shipments show up from some friends of the store and of the channel, and we'll get through those in a second. But first, this is not a record, Steve, but I had a customer here locally at our store in Midland make a little stained glass ornament thing about the size of a 10-inch record here with our logo on it, the Cosmic Dog logo from the store here. And our friend Sue made this for us and dropped it off the other day. And it's the coolest thing ever. We haven't hung it up yet because I've wanted to show this, but it is, you can kind of see our logo with the dog here through this stained glass stuff. But it's very cool. And dual-sided, we'll hang that up in the window so it catches a little light. And
very nice.
Through. So very cool stuff. On to the VCLT side of things. Oh, thank you, Sue, again, by the way. That was very nice. Our friend Rocky sent me a package, Steve. You know Rocky. Rocky is a great dude who watches both of our channels and is a fan of the podcast. But he sent me some stuff here the other day, including a notebook with some of his photography on the front. One of those little blank notebooks for us to write stuff in, and a copy of his album from 2018. Yeah. Nice little autograph on here as well from Rocky. This is called Futility's Last Request. Last Request, rather, from Rocky O. This, you've got one of these also, I assume, right?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
It's neat stuff. It's interesting. It's spoken word and poetry. Rocky's a poet and a very interesting individual. I mean, very interesting.
Yeah, he is. My God, what he's seen and done, it's just fantastic.
Well, New York in the 60s and L.A. It was L.A. too, or just New York? Or
as far as I think 60s and 70s, he was in New York. I know for sure. I'm not sure. Rocky will have to clarify that.
But I'm sure he saw a lot in that time frame with some great bands in through there. So this is a very interesting album of spoken word poetry, a little bit of ambient in the background on here too from time to time.
Yep.
So very cool stuff. Thank you very much, Rocky, for sending that along. A welcome addition to the collection. I had two other additions here from VCLT wise. A friend of ours from the store, Tom N, dropped me a package. He gets stuff from the store every week, and I send those out to him. I've got one here called the Griot Galaxy and their album Kins. I hope I'm saying that right. Griot Galaxy. Kins. This is an addition to the Michigan collection. Tom even sent a little note here that says Merry Christmas from Michigan's own jazz fusion band on a limited Third Man RSD pressing. So this is a reissue of the Griot Galaxy Kins album from Third Man, and I forget the year on this reissue. Let me call that up real quick here. The reissue was done in 2019, and I had to look up some info on these. These guys are very interesting. It's going to be almost free jazz in spots, Steve. But yeah, here's the cover. Great Galaxy Kins. I keep wanting to say Kings, but Great Kins. They bill themselves as the sci-fi band. So going back and looking at this, the information I can find says Great Galaxy was a pioneering Detroit avant-garde jazz ensemble formed in 1972. Let's see. They're known for being blending complex rhythms and Afrofuturist concepts inspired by Sun Ra and the Art Ensemble of Chicago into their sci-fi band sound. That's in quotes. Releasing albums like Kins and Opus Krampus before disbanding due to an accident of one of the members, but remaining an influential, albeit under-recognized part of Detroit's creative musical history. So, very interesting. I've not had a chance to listen to this yet, Tom, but I will get to this. Looking at the Great Galaxy's discography, they did only have those two albums. 1982 originally with this one, and 1985 was their second one. Then they didn't show back up in Discogs again until 2003 and 2025 with a couple of different live recordings. I think the 2025 one shows up on vinyl as well, but the 23 is only on compact disc. Now, originals of these, let me go look at this real quick. There's a couple, actually only one U.S. pressing from 1982. Looks like this floats between $200 and $600 if you ever find an OG on this.
Yeah.
So very happy to get the Third Man repress on this. I haven't had a chance to give it a listen yet because things have been pretty busy at the store, but rest assured I will dive into this just to see, because Discogs calls this album it's free jazz and fusion, Steve. So.
Well, anybody, when they say it's like Sun Ra and
Art Ensemble.
Yeah, the Art Ensemble of Chicago. Oh boy, you are in for a treat. Yes, you are.
Also from Tom in that same package, he sent me another one. It says Merry Christmas. You'll get a kick out of this, Steve. The note he included in the back of this, it says Merry Christmas to the number one They Might Be Giants completist in the vinyl community. Apparently I am a They Might Be Giants vinyl completist, but this is John Linnell's, one of the Johns from They Might Be Giants, and his Record Store Day release of State Songs from a couple of years ago. And this is exactly what it sounds like. He sings mini songs about different states. Not everything, but Michigan is on here as well. I don't see Nebraska, though, Steve. I'm sorry to say. Illinois, West Virginia, South Carolina, Idaho, Montana, Pennsylvania, Utah, Arkansas, Iowa, Mississippi, Maine, Oregon, New Hampshire, Nevada, and Michigan. So
Iowa, but not Nebraska.
Being one of the Johns from TMBG, it does have a very They Might Be Giants-esque sound to it. So
perfect.
Very happy to have those two. Thank you again, Tom, for sending those along. And then the last edition, Steve, this is a me one. It just happens to fall in to that last one, and I got a reissue of They Might Be Giants and John Henry. This was their fourth or fifth studio album, I think. Originally, I'm going to have to figure out when because this one has been a tough get for quite some time now. John Henry, this was just reissued, by the way, this one being on orange vinyl, and it had been on my radar on the new releases coming up. I've been watching this, and there was like a green vinyl edition coming from our distributors. I think just last week it was being released. But this one was on orange vinyl directly from the They Might Be Giants website, TMBG, on a neon orange vinyl, which is very cool. One of my favorite colors there. So I opted, actually, I have a record store, but I opted to go to They Might Be Giants directly to get the album from their website, just so I could have the neon orange. This album was originally released, John Henry was originally released in 1994, but it did not see a vinyl issue until 2013. And that reissue in 2013, double LP on black vinyl, was a limited edition run. And that's been on my want list. I've been waiting to pull a trigger on one of these, but haven't done so yet. But that ranges into the several $100, like $300-400 range to get that. And there's not a whole lot available on Discogs. It's a nice little gatefold opening up with some cool stuff as well. There was one other reissue of this back in October on green vinyl, and that one's already in the $100 range on Discogs as well. So it'll be interesting to see where the orange vinyl version goes. I don't know. It did not say how limited of a pressing this was, But if I think it's like a lot of their other stuff, it's going to be fairly limited. And for whatever reason, that they might be giant stuff on vinyl tends to be fairly collectible, and it holds its value. So I'm happy to have this. Not one of my favorite TMBG. Maybe I just have to give it a better chance. I've only ever listened to this digitally, of course, because I've never had the vinyl. So this probably will give me a little more exposure to the album, and I'll see where I can go with it.
And being a completist, I mean, you really had no other choice but to
I
buy it.
had,
I mean, you could just tell Kim, what can I do?
I had no choice whatsoever. It's a fun record. I've listened to parts of it, as I said, digitally, but yes, I had no choice. I'm going to have to sit down after the first of the year and figure out how close to being a completist I actually am, because I know there's a couple of them out there, but like John Henry, I've not pulled the trigger on because they're several $100s, and I just haven't
Yeah.
been able to go with it there. So, well, folks, if you're curious to listen in on the pickups that Steve and I are showing off here with our recent pickups each week, you can look for the Spotify playlist that we put together. It is down in the description of both the YouTube channel's episode version and the Spotify version as well. You can find that it's a Spotify playlist. So you might have to have an account. I think you can listen to it with commercials otherwise, but we'll put sound samples from all of these albums, including Steve's, if I can find them down there.
Ernie Kuchera, baby.
I don't think we're going to find your polkas in there. So maybe I'll just put a generic polka on just to see where we go from there. But check that out when you do get a chance, please. It's always fun, especially this time of year. I mean, you're going to be listening to the Ernie. You've digitized that already, right? You're going to be listening to that on your travels.
The Ernie Kuchera Christmas album. It's next to Mariah Carey as far as hot stuff.
There we go. Before we go any further, Steve, hang on. I'm just going to check something. Yes, please stay on hold. We're almost done with our podcast. We'll get back to you soon. My customer service is not lacking, Steve. I'm sorry, but that's a gentle poke at what a lot of shoppers go through, I think, and retailers to some effect. Not only this time of year, but I think the holiday season tends to amplify everyone's, let's just use the word edginess when it comes to shopping for things. There's a lot of pressure. Yeah, angst is a good word to kick in there as well. This time of year is good for retailers. And again, as a record store owner, I like to see people coming in. We got a lot of new people coming into the store this time of year as well. But the backside of that is the lot of new people tends to be people who don't normally shop for records. And so they don't have, I don't want to try to sound like an elitist here. I know that we take some heat and comments from time to time. You guys are elitists. Well, maybe in some respects, but there's a certain culture that goes along with shopping in a record store. We have talked about this before. Those who have been to record stores most of their lives kind of get it. They know what you know what I'm talking about. When you say you go into a record store, it's not like shopping for a pair of shoes or a t-shirt or something along those lines. You just can't go in and say, get this for me and expect that it's going to be there, because it's not always the case, especially with used records.
Yeah. It very much, you don't know what you're going, which is kind of part of the excitement of the whole thing. You may go in and find just the most incredible thing, but if you don't know what you're looking for, you just have this title and you think, well, what kind of record store is this? They don't even have that. Really?
And well, that's just it too. You hit on this. It's the experience of shopping for records that people who collect records understand. And if you are a record collector, a music lover, and you put out a list to your friends and family and say, this is what I want, and the person that is shopping that list doesn't collect records, they don't really understand when they come in. Case in point, and every year, it's amusing to some extent, but the one thing we get a lot of is parents or grandparents coming in, especially grandparents, and they've got a list for their grandkids, and they're holding the list, and she's like, I'm supposed to look for something from a group called Cannibal Corpse. Do you have anything by, here's a 75-year-old grandma saying, I want some Cannibal Corpse, please. And it's like,
yeah, don't we all?
Don't we all? But that's the attitude coming in is innocent in its own way, because they're looking for something on a list. And so I'm not going to fault people for that. But when people come in saying with these certain expectations, you're right, you don't have this? Why don't you have this?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have a clue. And which again, it's not a surprise. When it comes to something specialized
Yeah.
like a record. You just think, well, you got to have everything, and then often they'll come in and then you give them the price of what it is.
Ooh.
What?
On that note, I just the other day we had someone come in. She again had a list looking for stuff for her son-in-law, and what kind of '90s grunge do you have? And so, well, I have to start explaining. We have reissues. I've got Nirvana. I've got some sound. Well, I need some Soundgarden, please. And she looked at the prices of some of the Soundgarden reissues that we have here, and she's, oh, $40. That's a little tight. Do you have any used ones? And I went, well, here's the thing. Soundgarden, if you want a used copy, like an original of a Soundgarden, you're talking maybe about $300 in some cases. I've sold some
Exactly.
before. Really? What about Nirvana? And I'm like, oh goodness, you want to use Nirvana from the 1990s? I said, well, here's the thing: those typically of Nevermind, especially, will sell maybe in the $1,000 to $1,500 range. You're kidding me? So all of a sudden, these $35, $40 reissues don't sound so bad. But again, she had zero clue that that's kind of the way it is. Was just expecting, because I've got $5 used records from, Jethro Tull or Bob Seger or something like that. That,
Mhm.
well, why don't you have a $5 Nirvana used record? Because it doesn't work
And
that
that's
way.
where you take them by the arm, you lead them back to the dollar bins and go, I'm really thinking you want a deal? Get a whole bunch of these, and they're going to love them. Trust me. And they're going to
Trust
think,
me.
wow, you gave me a whole record collection. Awesome.
I've got Reader's Digest box sets, 12 LP box sets for $1 back there. Think of the value you're getting.
Phenomenal.
Sure,
Yeah.
it's not Kurt Cobain, but it's Arthur Fiedler. You can't go wrong.
And make sure you have your camera ready when they open up that package, because the look on their face, you're going to want to remember that forever.
Especially when the package is wrapped and is shaped as a record and wrapped accordingly. So that's how I
God,
go.
that'd be funny. Oh,
Oh, I
I've had that happen a few times. Like, huh? What?
you're disguising it. So I mean that's kind of the fun side. And again, I'm not the type of store owner that's going to berate somebody for not knowing. It's just that's not how we roll here. I'm not going to go say, oh, you don't know, geez, Nirvana's. Oh. I'm not like that, but I know that some places can be a little uppity, especially this time of year. I try to be as patient as I can with folks coming in, and especially when, as typical, they come in asking for the most obscure record. And we're a smaller store. And we're a smaller store who has been burning through the vinyl in the past couple of weeks. So I'm lucky I
Mhm.
have things like Elton John on the shelves, that's all gone this time of year. And they don't make new used, Steve. So
Yeah.
I've got to wait till we get more in.
Oh, well, now's the time, everyone. If you got to sell some Elton John, yeah, like 3 days to get it to Jim. Otherwise,
Yeah.
forget it.
Oh, I'm done buying for the year right now. I'll tell you that, because things are so crazy. I don't have time to have stuff
Yeah.
be brought in. But that's not stopping people from trying, mind you. So,
Hmm.
unless
Yeah.
something phenomenal walks in. Now, one of the other things, Steve, too, that was supposed to alleviate a lot of this was the idea of shopping online. And we've talked before on the show here about how I do not sell a great deal of records online. I've got a website. Our website's up and running. Here's radiowastelandrecords.com, plug. Uh, but I've got a minimal amount of stuff on there, and it's typically new releases, and I'll sell something on the website every 2 or 3 weeks. I don't sell on eBay. I don't sell on Discogs any longer. I might revisit that in the next year or something. I'll think about it, but I've stopped selling a couple of years ago simply because we were moving through inventory too quickly. I couldn't keep up with the online, plus they increased the fees, and I didn't want to deal with it. But you do a
Mhm.
lot of shopping online as well as in store. And I think you had a video out the other day that talked about some customer service interactions you've had in the
Yeah.
online world that weren't quite so fantastic.
Yeah. It's some companies, are just they're not reputable whatsoever. And the one I was really griping about was Merch Bar, which I have purchased Merch Bar. I can go back, 6 years and see Merch Bar purchases, and I was getting the stuff. But last year I bought, it was $200 worth of record albums. and I've never received them. And it's one
Right.
of those things that, okay, all of a sudden it reminds me, hey, where is that? Because I I'll kind of forget about it after a while. And every time, well, when I would write an email, you would get one of those form emails back. Hey, we're really busy. We're going to get right back to you right now and everything. No phone numbers, no other way to contact them. Otherwise, I've been writing emails, not getting anything. Uh, and I thought, well, maybe I just need to ask for a refund. And I go, well, will they even give me my money back? I mean, will they just ignore everything because the customer service is so bad? And this is happening to a ton of people because I've had so many people write in and go, I've had the same issue. I'm having the same problems. And so this company who they sell records very inexpensive. And but I see the same records that I've been waiting for being sold again, on that site, and it's extremely frustrating with that. I rarely have had problems. There was another one, Numero Group, but my when I sent it in, it had my old address on there because that's the last time I bought. But they said, okay, I got a hold of them, and they really quick. They answered, hey, I got your address changed. Everything's good because it was a special colored edition of this box set from Muscadoo. Well, suddenly it's coming out. Everyone's showing it. And go, where's mine?
Yeah, I
And
remember
so
you
I
had
go
talked
in.
about that. You were ordering that directly.
Yeah. Because I'd asked you. He said you can get the black. I says, no, I want this blue. And so I checked my tracking, and it was still going back to Midland, and they do not forward records. The post office will not forward record albums because it's done through media mail,
Yep.
and whatever reason's cheap, so you're not going to get it. And it took a while for me. I had to do three or four emails before Numero finally answered back. And they go, we don't know what happened. It shows it was changed, but it reverted back to your other address. We can't get you that anymore, but we can send you a black version. They gave me a little money back because of that. So at least someone got a hold of me to talk to me to try to find a solution. And customer service is about a solution. You may not be happy with it, but someone's trying to help you. Unlike this merch bar who will refuse to answer and send out something generic. And you can bet if you call, if they had a phone number, you would get some kind of bot. Have you ever had those
Yeah, oh,
where you
yeah.
call and you give them what you want, and you're not getting any kind of answer. You're just going customer service, customer
Yeah.
service, customer
Operator,
service.
operator, operator. You're
Yeah.
sitting there yelling,
Oh my
operator, human,
God. And
human.
it just keeps spinning back. It's like, the company going, just give them one of those AI bots or whatever. They'll keep someone
Yep.
tied up for hours.
Do you think the
Frustrating.
difference, Numero, do they act as a label? I'm trying to remember exactly as well. Or
Yeah,
they are a
they do.
label, so they've got a little bit more of a vested interest in keeping the
Yes.
collector happy. Where something like Merch Bar is going to be a pass through. They don't have any investment in a label or pressing or anything like that. They simply purchase and pass that through on. So I think that they're less likely to be concerned with the end result of what gets out to the collector versus something like a Numero, which does have a bit of a reputation to uphold.
I agree. If you go on to like to Reddit, and Merch Bar has 1 star, which is even a surprise that they have 1 star. And it is comment after comment about being screwed by them. It is humongous. Obviously, it doesn't bother them because they still keep selling and going. And yeah, I had good luck getting stuff, but after this and reading what everyone else has done, maybe they've just been getting worse with time.
Then there's also the issue. This is going to sound weird with me as I own a store. Of course, I'd rather have people come into the store, but I know that that's not always possible. Heck, look at this. I bought They Might Be Giants directly from the They Might Be Giants website because I wanted a
Mhm.
specific color. So I get it that people want specific things that stores like ours can't always get. But there's also this inherent risk that comes, especially with third party, mentioned Merch Bar or something like Amazon, where the temptation is there to get a much cheaper album through Amazon. But I've had so many customers come in and talk about horror stories. I ordered this and it showed up with a dish warp, or I ordered this and it showed up in a huge Amazon box bouncing around by itself with no padding whatsoever, and the record's completely destroyed. There's something that you don't typically have to worry about. If you buy something from a store like ours and it's damaged on the inside for whatever reason, bring it back, we'll return it, we'll exchange it. Now, I know Amazon does returns and exchanges, but
Very
sometimes
easily.
they're just
Yeah.
like, just keep it, but you're not
Yeah.
always getting what you want. But it seems to me to be a waste. Again, we get Amazon packages at home for different items, and you get one little thing showing up in a huge box. You're like, what's the point?
Well, I had a record come in from Amazon once. It wasn't even in a box. They just put the label on top of the album.
Oh, really?
It wasn't even protected. You just kind of look at it and go, what the hell? That's new. And some other people have had that happen too. It's like there's someone in there. But I just had heard that Amazon's really going to go to all robots if they can. So the robots will be fine. We're going to be A-OK,
What the
Jim.
heck?
We won't have these human mistakes happening.
Quick story on that, and I still have this box. I think I showed this to you when you were still here in the Midland, Michigan area. But I had ordered an album for a customer from Italy. They wanted something specifically, so I got it through Discogs from Italy. It showed up in a pizza box. They had, I mean, it was packaged correctly, but a literal pizza box from Italy packaged a record, and it made it here. So I thought that was kind of cool, the packaging. But the, I don't know, the idea though that you're going to be completely insulated from customer service mishaps or shipping mishaps just because you're dealing with an online store is not always going to be the case.
No, it's not. Just buyer beware. I've had good luck with Discogs. I've only had one that, uh, you know what, they said, hey, this is what it is. It came in. It wasn't even close. They wouldn't answer back or anything. It's just like they disappeared.
Yeah.
So, I sent in my notes to Discogs or whatever about the seller, but otherwise, I've had good luck and I've had a lot of stuff off of that. But
Well, and just like
record
with
stores are interesting.
yeah, with just like with you were saying, when you look at something like Reddit and you see that the 1-star rating that something like Merch Bar has, you have some protections on Discogs by looking at the seller's ratings. And
Hmm.
typically when I buy a lot of stuff on Discogs for customers who want specific things and they don't want to buy through Discogs for whatever reason, so we act as that intermediary here. I'm always like, well, if it's not at least 99.9% positive on the seller side, then don't get it. We'll find somebody else simply because it's too risky sometimes, especially with higher dollar records.
Yeah, or you get the ones they've sold. Well, we have 100, sales, and they could be legit, and I have gotten from them. But you never know. Is this going to be good or not? Usually like the ones that have, you know, 20,000 sales. You go,
Yep.
okay, pretty legit.
Legit, if they're even if they're at a 97%, if they've got 20,000, then you're not gonna make everybody happy all the time. How's that sound?
Yeah,
And I know that there are
very
some
true.
customer sides where things do get a little testy, if they're not looking. I had somebody come in again. I don't mean to be I don't mean to be griping, but this time of year we get a lot of them. I had somebody come in about a week or so ago, and again, very typical, friendly on my side. After they're looking around for a few minutes, and especially if they're first time in the store, I'll toss out there, "Can I help you find something?" Most of the time, I'm greeted with, "Oh yeah, I'm looking for this. So let me tell you what I'm looking for," or "No, I'm just browsing." This particular one, when I said, "Can I help you look for something?" Or no, I think it was, "Can I help you find something?" And he says, "I doubt it." Okay. So it just had this air like, what I'm asking for is so unique that I know you don't have it. So I'm not even going to bother
Yeah.
bothering you. It's like, all right, whatever, dude.
Uh-huh.
Go what you got to go to.
Yeah.
So, but I smile.
There was yeah, there's a record store I've heard a lot about. It's out in California, and they have incredible records. It's a guy that's been there for since the beginning of time. I think he was there when they made the first vinyl record. But to go in there, you're not allowed to browse. you have to tell him specifically what you want. And if you don't want it, then you're just a dumbass, you know. You
Wow.
don't know what you want or whatever. He's just as rude can be, I guess, you know, and just and, you know, he'll go grab it. And there's just thousands and thousands of records. I believe he's trying to sell his place now or trying to sell it, but he's just wants a stupid amount of money
Well,
for
yeah,
whatever for it.
we've
But yeah, it's customer services. But he didn't care. To him, customers, you know what? Hey, fine. You don't want to shop here? I don't care. So
yep.
somehow he was making, you know, it happen for him. But people would go there because he had a lot of rare stuff.
Well, you remember there, and I won't name stores, but there was another store in the mid Michigan area, a little bit further out, that's also been there for quite some time, where there's signs posted all over the inside of the store. No phones allowed. You know, do not
Yeah.
bring your phone out. No pictures allowed. When you're in
Yeah.
a record store and you're unsure if something is in your collection or if you're unsure if the price is right where it should be, what do?
Yeah.
You look it
I
up.
took him.
But
Mm-hmm.
this particular place, he frowns upon it and actively tells people to not use their phones while they're in the store, and that's follows. And I get people complaining in my store to me about that. I'm like, don't don't know, man. Just that's the way they operate
Yeah.
there.
He also didn't want kids in his store.
That's right.
Man, if
That's
a kid
right.
came in, boy, you tell you, his parents or whatever. I mean, holy cow. Now, I sat and talked with him, but I wanted to do a video just to show his store off. I says, let me do this. Nope, not going to allow it. He just don't want people to see his prices, which were high.
Yep. Yep.
And so I get that. But yeah,
So
curmudgeon.
I've got one other story, Steve. Usually you're the one talking about the record store experience from the customer side. Well, I had a couple days off last week. This is true story, just happening last week. And there is a store. It's not one of the ones in the Tri Cities. I won't name the store, but it's a little bit further out, a different county, headed down toward Flint ish. Not in Flint. Not our good. I know a couple of guys in Flint that do real well here, but this is
Yeah.
a little store in a little town. We'll say it could be Owasso, and it's been there forever. But it's excuse me, it is not a used record store per se. It's a used media store. They have a very large selection of books. I mean, tremendously. One of the largest used book collections I've ever seen in a
Wow.
store. They have a moderate amount of vinyl, about the size of one of my rooms here, with a table or two, and another room with country records. They've got comic books. They have got video games. They've got a lot of CDs and the like. I've been going to this store for several years because it's en route as I go to visit my father a little further downstate. I'll stop there and just go through them. Everything's a bargain bin in this store, unfortunately, because there is
Mhm.
no variant of pricing whatsoever. And quite frankly, all of the vinyl I've ever seen there is pretty much garbage. And the only reason I've ever stopped is because once in a while they miss something and they put that in there. But
Mhm.
by universal pricing, meaning that they throw it all on the shelf and it's $4 a record or $10 for three. And that does not change for anything. And you could find, like, for example, I was looking at a couple of Uriah Heep records in there the other day. They were pretty beat up, but they would be about a $7 or $8 record if cleaned up fairly nicely. Most of it is going to be junk, but this time around, for whatever reason, I think that it just slipped. You know, usually where I could find one or two things that would be worth my time in digging, thinking it's pretty cool, nothing. There were record jackets that were ripped completely open. There were records that had mold on them on the inside
Mhm.
and just mold on the outer sleeves as well. And I was just like, this has really slipped. And no records of any value. And I talked to the guys there before at previous visits. Oh, we do have some good stuff that's all kept in the back room, and we sell that online only. So here you
Yeah.
have a store, albeit not a record store fully and totally, but a store that sells used records that refuses to put out records that are any good because they hold them back for online customers only. Again, that's your business model. If you so desire, go for it. But that leaves the local customers with nothing but a pile of garbage that, quite frankly, I wouldn't even put in our dollar room if I had a chance to.
Yeah, isn't that
So
crazy? You know, instead of helping, you know, the people, and you know, you put out the good stuff, then you attract more people in. They're coming in, they're
exactly.
buying other things. It really, it makes no sense. But yeah,
So
I guess we weren't there when they had their board meeting
no,
deciding on the business strategy.
Where I'm getting to with this, Steve, is a customer service experience from the customer side that will not
Mhm.
send me back there. I mean, the vinyl is one thing. I can sift through cheap vinyl. I don't mind doing that, garbage vinyl, if I find something cool. But okay, I hope I don't tick folks off with this by trying to sound like a prude. But as I'm here, this was just last week. I stopped in because I had a few extra minutes and I'm thumbing through the records. There was other people in the store, not just me. There was a woman looking through the CDs. There was a couple of people in the book section, and I'm thumbing through the records when all of a sudden I thought, man, these records are awful moldy. And when I went in, there was nobody at the counter. The doorbell dinged, and then some guy came out, poked his head, let me know you guys need any help, ring the bell. And then he disappeared again. So all these people in the store, nobody at the counter. I'm thumbing through the records when all of a sudden I smelled it. The attendant who should have been at the counter was in the back room, which was just off where the records are, smoking a joint in the store. Now, it's legal here in Michigan. I know it's legal in Colorado, but where do you stand as a business to openly have somebody smoking pot in the store while customers are shopping? Again, I'm not a prude. People can do what they want, but I don't think that's a sound business model.
No, and isn't aren't I don't think you're allowed to smoke in a public places like that anyway. But
Well, you're
oh,
right.
he didn't care.
Smoking, yeah, smoking is
Yeah,
prohibited in Michigan in all
yeah,
businesses. Doesn't matter,
yeah.
but smoking, could they argue that this was not part of the public side of the business? I don't know how that works, but
It was for medicinal purposes. I need it because it's time. My medicine, my doctor says I got to smoke that joint now.
well, it was before noon, so it was still. But I mean, there was no mistaking it, Steve, and it was wafting throughout the entire store, and it wasn't even a fun smell of it. It was one of those skunky ones. It was just like, oh my god. And it's just like, okay, this is getting into the records. It's mixing with the mold. And I just said, forget it. I'm out of here. I don't
Mhm.
even want to deal with this. But I found that to be just a tremendously bizarre customer experience looking through records. And granted, us record store owners are a unique bunch. Okay.
Yeah.
But still, to have that happening in a store just was beyond the pale for me.
Hmm. Yeah. I've, you know, I've been fortunate to be able to go to hundreds of record stores, and for the most part, they're all very good. They're all very nice. When I was younger, though, it was a little bit harder. You're kind of looked down, maybe a little
Yeah.
more upon. You don't know what you're doing. I think that kind of image has changed now to some extent, but there are just certain ones you go in. And if the customer service isn't right, I'm not coming back. I may not come back anyway because I'm traveling, but I remember that kind of stuff. And, one that always frustrated me was one where they had signs, do not open the record. You need to bring them to the counter for us to open up the packages for you. They were used, but they were
Yep.
sealed, used. I understand maybe they've had a theft problem.
Mhm.
And so I get that. People pulling out, switching the albums, or, stuff like that. That can happen. But for a good shopper, especially for me who browses a lot and I want to look at all these, I have to bring up a stack of records to let that person. Now everyone's waiting to check out. Hold on.
Yep.
He's looking at my stack and now I decide I don't want any of them.
Let it
It's
refile.
it's not worth, yeah, it's not worth my time.
And that I understand. This particular shop too, as I mentioned, I've been going to it for years now, and I'm just not going to bother now on my way by. There's a couple of other shops down there that are close by as well that I'd much rather go to. They have better product and they're probably a little cooler with customers in the store. Try that
Yeah.
instead. Put that in your pipe and
Uh-huh.
smoke it, Steve.
Yes.
So, just kind of curious, folks, are there any customer service stories in record stores that you would like to share? Let us know, both the good and the bad. And I think, overall, Steve, my experience, I think overall with you too, with the exception of a few here and there, going into record stores is a pleasant experience. And if you get a
It is.
decent staff inside or an owner there, it enhances it. I try to be as friendly as I can with people, and I try not to be short. This time of year, it's a challenge, but I always put on the nice and friendly welcome here. Let me help you without because I want you to be happy, even if you're buying a gift of something you don't understand what it is. We're going to talk you through it and help you get the right thing for somebody.
Yeah, it's I've met a lot of really, really nice owners, and that take the time to talk with you
Yeah.
and, converse. And that is wonderful. It is different when you're really, really busy. You can't. I mean, yeah, I just remember my retail days. Open up a store on Black Friday and when you're a discount, and it's like, "Oh Lord, here they come." Oh,
Well,
Puerto Rico is terrible. Oof.
the other side of that though too, Steve, is that I'm glad that you do like to make friends with record store owners, because if you hadn't, we wouldn't have this podcast.
That's very, very true. Exactly.
You came in and we
And
took the time to talk every Sunday.
yep. And now I'm a lot poorer because of it. Because, well, Jim, maybe I'll just try this. Maybe I'll try that, Jim. Put that on. So,
Well, your problem, Steve, is that you're a little impressionable. I'm sorry to be so upfront with you about this,
yeah,
but I heard the Pet Shop Boys the other day, so I had to go buy 12
yeah.
inches.
Just had to go do it. I had no choice.
You had no choice. I had no choice, Kim. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a completist. You understand? So
Uh,
So, hey, Steve, speaking of the podcast, we're coming up on our time for this week's episode. Next week, by the way, we'll do our year-end wrap-up. I've got some categories,
mhm.
obviously the best pickup, the best new album, best artist. We'll cover all the goodies and
Yeah.
a couple of interesting categories. How does that sound?
Best
Um,
polka.
Best polka album from a Nebraska polka king. Maybe we should have an episode where we do the battle royale and we try to see if it's Marv Herzog or the Nebraska polka king Ernie.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah, there we
better?
go. Marty
Um,
Kuchera. Go, baby.
but speaking of the podcast, folks, next week, Steve and I will have a major announcement regarding two guys talking about records. Now, before you freak out, no, we're not going to stop doing the podcast because I angered Steve by sending him polka albums. Or did I?
They're great.
That's what I thought. No, but we've got some very interesting news on the podcast front for you folks. So we're going to do our year-end wrap-up next week and share some fantastic news regarding two guys talking about records. This is the time of year, isn't it, for fantastic stuff?
It is.
It's
Yes.
it's a Festivus miracle, Steve.
That it is, sir.
All right. Well, folks, in the meantime, we hope each and every one of you have a great Christmas and a happy holiday season throughout. When we talk next week, it'll be post-Christmas and almost time for New Year, so we'll wrap things up in style here. And we hope you and yours have a very joyous and enjoyable one, and you get to see family and friends, and you have safe travels no matter what you're doing.
Very true. Everyone, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, however you want to celebrate it. And Jim has another phone call.
No, they hung up on me. I guess they didn't want to wait for the
Oh,
entire hour of the podcast. I'll deal with it.
how rude. How rude,
Oh.
you know.
Until next week, my name is Jim, and I own a record store. And trust me, that was funny. We try to treat you right here.
And I am Steve, and I'm a record collector. And thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you. Merry Christmas,
Bye.
everyone. Merry Christmas, Steve.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Jim.